Now what we're going to do is talk to you about hooking up an Energizer. People call them a plug-up or a mains unit. And here, another wonderful brand that we've got, the Stay Fix brand. Very easy to tell which leads are the hot in the ground. Of course, red being the hot, green being the ground. If for some reason your knobs were to ever come off of it and everything, it's real easy to see. You got a little lightning bolt for the electrical one, where you've got the ground symbol for the ground itself. And I took that off also so that you can notice right here, to make this connection, the undergate cable, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes, just comes right up into there. And then as we tighten down on there, that's going to make that good connection. It's going to lock it right in on there. Okay. Of course, we're inside of a barn itself. This particular unit being a plug-up type unit. Need to put it inside the building, out of the weather elements and everything. It's going to be mounted on the wall. What we've done, we've already pre-positioned a couple of screws on the wall itself that's going to lock into the pattern on this right here so that it hangs on it. The plug itself, to get to the power, feeds right in. Of course, refer to your instruction manual if you have any problems with that. It locks in. Hook it on there itself. Okay. At this point, you do not want to make any connection yet to the 110 power source. You want to hook up your individual leads coming in. Prior to starting, what I've done is I went ahead and ran my two individual leads in. One of these leads would go to my fence itself, which transfers the electricity. The other lead itself would then go out to the ground rods. As I said just a moment ago, we've put our Energizer here on the inside. Do not place your ground rods on the inside. You want your ground rods to be on the outside of the facility so that you're in an area where you've got lots of moisture. Okay. As I said, I've already kind of pre-run them. All I'm going to do, just like I said earlier, I'm going to twist this out, run this up into the split itself, tighten it right down on there. Bringing our ground, loosen it back up, running it up into that split, giving it a good tighten on down through there. Give them both a little bit of a tug, make it nice and neat and clean. Take and run your excess on down in there so that you got a good connection on here. And as well, everything's hanging here nice and tight itself. From this point, what we're going to do is we're going to proceed on the outside of the facility. We're going to talk about our ground rods. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about our grounding again. Like we talked about earlier on our solar type units, if you've looked at that portion of the video, again, grounding is the most important thing when it comes to an electric fence. When we get calls from different folks, this is normally where we identify that they're having a problem. You want to utilize a good galvanized 6 to 8 foot ground rod. This is paired with a unit that's already placed on the inside. As I said earlier, you want to place this on the outside. We're next to the barn right here. Over on one of the sides itself, if you happen to have a downspout or something that's going to bring some moisture into this particular area right here, that's always going to help you out, because that just increases your grounding ability, the moisture around the ground rod. Taking your ground rod, just a steel T-post driver, you're going to drive it into the ground right here. Again, like I talked about earlier, you want to use at least 2 ground rods in most situations, but please refer to your owner's manual. As you get a larger Energizer, it may require a few more. I'm going to drive it into the ground, drive it down just right below, right above surface itself, I should say. And again, we're going to make this connection. We're going to connect our undergate cable that's coming from our Energizer. It's coming from the inside out. What we want to do is this piece right here. We've already got some polymer removed so that we've got the bare wire showing. We're going to take us a connector, little connector itself, which goes over the top of the ground rod. Of course, if you can imagine, that ground rod's down in the ground right there. But you're going to make this connection right there on the top of it. Take your pliers, give it a good tighten up on there. Get a good tug, making sure you've got good connection right there. And of course, if you know, your next consecutive rods would go along, you'd move along, use a piece of undergate cable to bridge those gaps. Again, those consecutive ground rods need to be at least 10 foot apart from each other because of the circumference of electrons that's pulled around it are about 9 foot. You don't want to overlap those circles. You want to spread them out so that you're gaining more ground. Okay, we've made our connections on the outside going to our rail itself, making that connection, and we've also gone down to our ground rods on the outside. Got everything. Let's just double check again, making sure we've got good connections. Everything nice, clean and neat. We want to kind of straighten that up. And at this point, you're ready to hook your Energizer up. Of course, you want to position it pretty close to a 110 source. And all you're going to do at this particular point is plug it up. You're ready to go. That completes all hooking up a mains plug-in type unit.